All right, if you are a blue steel player, you must be on the edge of your seats because you may have gotten the best card that is going to be released this entire set. And boy, oh boy, if you haven't seen it, you're going to want to see it. Illumineers, welcome back to the Madhouse. We have day 2 of the spoilers coming up. And without further ado, I do want to shout out the man who is making this possible for me to do it. We are getting all of these releases, all of these cards all over the place. A whole bunch of content creators are getting to reveal cards, and it's in 100 different places. But Mushu Report down here, this is what this Mushu is with the reindeer. He is making all of this happen. He's putting it all into one place. The link to his website will be in the description. Definitely go check it out. Show him some love. Put some time on that website. He has all the English translations. He has all the cards. And he is putting in the work to make sure we get it all. The other thing before we get into the cards, don't forget, if you haven't gone into the giveaway yet, go check out the video. It's this one I'm pointing at. It's this one right here. And all you got to do is like and comment and be subscribed to be entered into one of many giveaway items you could potentially get. Without further ado, let's look at the first card, and it is Pete, a pirate scoundrel. He is a one-cost inkable 1/2/1. He is a villain and a pirate, and he has Pilfer and Plunder. Whenever you play an action that isn't a song, you may banish chosen item. So, Green Steel Pirates is something that people played with a little bit last set. They kind of entertained that idea. I think we also saw a little bit of Green Ruby Pirates. We know that items they're getting support. We saw that in yesterday's reveal. Blue decks that are running items are getting a lot of support. So this may be a card that really comes into play. The issue is that you have to play an action for this to work. When you can just play Benja, if you're playing Green Steel, then maybe that's better. With that being said, Pete allows you to get Windy Darling ready, the 2-cost Ruby pirate that gets an extra lore when you have a pirate down. So there's that as well. This song may see play. It banishes items, and there's a chance that items is extremely powerful next set. So I can't. I have to give credit to anything that's going to banish items because of some of the cards that we're going to see today. And for that reason, I'm going to give Pete a 3 just because pirate synergy, so he has that going for him. It's another one drop that isn't Diablo, that isn't Curse Merfolk, and it's inkable, and you get to potentially banish an item. It's not a bad combo, so we'll go with a 3 on Pete. Next up, we've got Unconventional Tool. Fixed in no time. It's an item. It's a one-cost item. When this item is banished, you may pay 2 less for the next item you play this turn. This is interesting. I mean, it's another one-cost item for blue-red, but when you look at what they're running, they have their popsicles, they have their Shield of Virtues, they have their Vitalospheres, they have their Ruby Chromicons. I don't know where this sees play. It is more items, and they need more items, so this, you're not upset if this gets flipped off of something like the Oswald, right? Because it just goes and it just kind of sits there to do its thing. And you actually get benefit from banishing it with Hiram Flaversham. So you can play this on 1. You don't get to draw a card, which is really harmful, but you banish it with Hiram Flaversham, you banish it with Beast, and then because it's banished, you get to pay 2 less for whatever item you play. So there is really good item synergy with this card, and there's something. I mean, items is in a place where it can actually be good next set. We still need something that hasn't been revealed yet, and that's an item that does damage, but items are looking pretty good. So I'm going to give Unconventional Tool a 3 as well. That the fact that it does something when it's banished is just really exciting. I really like that, and yeah, we'll give it a 3. We'll give it a 3. Moving on, we have Wake Up Alice. It is a one-cost inkable action. Return chosen damaged character to their player's hand. Um, I I mean, it works with Pete, right? If you play this, you can activate Pete's effect to banish an item. So there's that. Pete's the one drop that we just revealed. But again, they have to be damaged. So yeah, it works with the Robin Hood. When you exert the Robin Hood, you can deal 1 damage. I believe We keep seeing these damage things. Like last set, I think it was last set, we saw the big Robin Hood when there's a damaged characters. Possibly we saw the Gaston and Ruby, but again, they have to be damaged, and there's a lot. It's just awkward for me. So I'm gonna give Wake Up Alice a two. It's a one cost action, um, but it doesn't even work on, like, if you wanted to use it on a Vanish character, then they have to be damaged to target them. So there's that. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a two. I just don't see it right now. I don't see the application with this. There's just not enough things that do and ping things with damage right now. So we'll go with a two. Moving on, we have Magical Maneuvers, a two cost inkable action, and return chosen character of yours to your hand. Exert chosen character. So, return chosen character of yours to your hand. This can be kind of exciting. You could run this in green purple, right? If you, instead of, you could quest with Merfolk and then bounce it with, bounce it, right? Like a kind of like the snake thing that you would normally do. When I look at magical maneuvers, it's a really bad snake, right? But at the same time, this works with its more goat bounce if you really want that. Again, though, you're losing tempo to bounce it. I'm trying to think. So bouncing goat would be good. Bouncing rabbit would draw you a card. Goat would gain you a lore. Bouncing, a one drop lets you replay it. Bouncing rose lets you replay the rose for one there. It's interesting. Exerting chosen character doesn't do much for me. We're going to look at a card later that does stuff to exerted characters on your turn, so maybe there's some application there. We, when we get to choose what to bounce from our hand, purple likes to be able to do that. That is a powerful effect. So I'm remiss. I'll give it a three. I'm gonna give Magical Maneuvers a three. It's a bounce effect, and we've seen how powerful purple can utilize bounce effects. I mean, you could bounce a dock, right? If you put this in purple steel, you could bounce a dock and draw cards with that. It's kind of like a cantrip now for two. So we'll give it an optimistic three. If I was to do halvesies, maybe a two and a half, but we'll look at it. We'll go three on this one. Moving up, we have Robin Hood. Eye for Detail, 3 cost inkable, 3/3/1 with support. Of course, that is when he quests, he can give his attack to another character. So, it is a hero. So there's hero synergy there. It's a 3/3/1 with support. There's Alice, right? So the Alice that if she has 10 or more attack, then she can quest for 5, I believe. So this is 3, and then when Alice is down, he's a 4. Um yeah, I'm going to give I'm going to give Robin Hood a 3. I just don't see it. Off the top of my head, I can think of the Robin Hood 6 drop, but I don't think it's a shift target, that Robin Hood, so it could be. I don't remember if it is. So off the top of my head, if that Robin Hood's a shift target, then this could possibly be a 3, but where I don't know and I don't think it is, I think this is just a 2. We just don't support just doesn't. I don't know. It only quests for 1. You're dropping it on 3 when blue's doing turn 3 is used for a lot more than that. Fishbone quills, ramping, Hiram, things like that. So I just don't see it right now. Even red blue is playing Grandma Tala on turn 3. This doesn't do it for me. So we'll go with 2 on Robin Hood. But again, just phenomenal artwork in this set. They really killed it here. Moving on, though, we have Taka, the Elemental Terror. She is a 10 cost inkable, a 12/12. She has a body, man, a 12/12 that quests for 3. She has a shift 7, Ancient Rage during your turn. Whenever an opposing character is exerted, banish them. So this is pretty cool. First, again, great artwork. I forget what the other Taka does. I've never actually seen it played before, so it's a card that I've never paid any attention to. This effect is really neat though. During your turn, whenever an opposing character is exerted, banish them. So if you have Taka down that you shifted on 7, you can use magical maneuvers, right? Right here, exert chosen character. So you can banish any one of your opponent's characters as long as they don't have ward. So there's that. Taka would work really well with the Elsa that exerts Anna. I think it's an Anna that exerts all opposing characters. So if you have Taka down and then you play Anna next turn, you can wipe their entire board. So a B prep, and then you also have a 12-12-3 down. So there's that as well. Yeah. I don't I don't see this ever seeing play. Yeah, I just don't see it. It's inkable, which is cool, but in red purple, what is this doing for you? It's only during your turn. So you could banish something with Elsa, right? So you can play, if you have this down, you can play Elsa and then banish it. But shift 7, think about what you're doing with your 7 or turn 7, right? You're playing things, I mean, B prep probably, that's a common one, or just playing other characters, drawing things like that. You're using Lady Medusas, or you're using Tremaines. I don't know. I want to give Taka a 3, and I think that's mostly because I see this 12-12, and that's really cool. The effect's cool. A quest for 3, that's cool. But I think this is a 2, if not a 1. But we'll give it an optimistic 2. I love this card. I think it's cool. But yeah, we've got to give Taka a 2, unfortunately. Moving on, we have Card Soldier, Royal Troops, and this was released in another language that I don't know. So you're gonna see a couple different things that I was playing around with, but Card Soldier is a 1-drop inkable, a 1/2, and a 1/2/1 that take charge while a damaged character is in play. This character gets +2 attack. So it's cool, that's neat, but you're playing it on 1, so your opponent isn't going to have any damaged characters, and even with 2, it only becomes a 3/2, and I mean, we already have challenger cards that become 3/2s. Now, this isn't challenger, right? So if your opponent has a damaged character, then Card Soldiers gets that +2 attack. So things just can't trade into it. With that being said, why do we care? It's only questing for 1, so I'm not too worried about that. And then, yeah, I don't. What is red? Why does red care about this? Really, you'd rather run things like Felicia, right? With it, you can play and put down popsicles. Ruby Steel is a deck that recently saw a lot of do really well. But I mean, I would rather just run a Captain Hook that has Challenger +2, that is guaranteed to have Challenger +2, instead of something that might not, right? That you have to work around, when I want my 1-drops to be able to do something, not like this. So I'm gonna give Card Soldier a 1. I don't see why you would ever want to run this card. Now, if there's a shift Card Soldier that I'm not thinking of, maybe they've been waiting for this 1-drop Card Soldier and that changes everything. But I don't know if there is. I know I think it's a 5-drop Card Soldier, but I don't know if there is a shift target for Card Soldiers right now. I do like that it is the 3 of hearts, because it becomes 3 attack, so that's pretty neat. It becomes 3 attack when what looks like a damaged card back here, so that may be a 1 of hearts, an ace of hearts. Anyways, that's really cool artwork. Again, just killing it with the artwork. But yeah, I think Card Soldier is going to be our first 1 for the day. Moving on, we have a Madame Medusa card from an awesome scene in the movie. This is when they drop the little girl down the mine for the gold or not the gold, but the jewels. But my Madame Medusa Diamond Lover, she's a 3/4/1. Search the Swamp. Whenever this character quests, you can deal 2 damage to chosen character of yours to send the top 3 cards of chosen player's deck to the discard pile. A 4-cost inkable. mill. This is mill. This is actually a decent mill card that is removing 3 cards. But I think Ravensburger is just really afraid of a mill deck becoming popular because this it's in red purple, and red purple is the last color combo right now that is really leaning in that direction. Now they do have Mad Hatter, but there's so many more things you could do with this if it was green purple. I think green purple is one that could run this better, or just any if this was just green. But in red purple, this it's just, I don't know what this is going to do. Now the fact that it is red, so there is the Mad Hatter, right? It's the 1 drop 1/1, so it has bad stats. It's easy to trade into. It's easy to remove, but it can discard cards off the top of your opponent's deck. So maybe red purple is going to be the mill deck, and maybe Madame Medusa is what's going to really start to allow that, because you have all the massive removal from the ladies, from the B preps, the Mauis. You have Maui Half Shark if there are any actions that do anything like that. And you have the bounce cards as well. So maybe this is where it's going to happen. Maybe red purple, it's another archetype that you can go towards. I'm going to give Madame Medusa 3. I hate that it's this you can deal 2 damage thing, because that just feels bad. But we keep seeing, the goodest boy on 20 Lord Discord loves seeing this fling damage stuff. So I'm sure he's over the moon, but I'm going to give it a 3. And I'm going to give it a 3 out of bias, right? In the fact that I think mill decks are cool. I think that's a really cool win con. And in my opinion, I don't think it's an overpowered win con, just because it is difficult and hard to get off in most games generally. And it's something that uh, it's slower, right? So I don't know. I'm going to give it an optimistic 3, and out of bias, because I would like to see a mill deck. I just think it's kind of fun. So moving, as long as it doesn't make you discard your hand as well, just straight up mill, I'm on board with that. But moving on from Madame Medusa, we have Tanana, right? She's a 4-cost inkable 4/4/1 from Brother Bear, and yeah, she's just a vanilla 4/4/1. Unfortunately, Tanana, I don't think you're going to see any play on turn 4. Rabbit Genie, right? I'm gonna give her a 1. Yeah, she's a 4/4 vanilla card that only quests for 1, and I think that she has to be a 1. Unfortunately, there's just so many other things that you'd rather do on turn 4 that this isn't doing anything for you. It gets banished by the new Iago that has Vanish, and Iago even lives. It doesn't have evasive, so it is an ally. And DeCandio did a reveal video that kind of talked about allies being important down the road. So maybe we're gonna see some more stuff that ally really means something. But right now, I'm giving her a 1, unfortunately. So moving on, we have Baymax Giant Robot. He is a 5/5/2 6-drop uninkable, and his effect down here is Universal Shift. And what this means is you pay 4 ink to play this on top of any one of your characters. And then functionality improved. When you play this character, if you used Shift to play him, remove all damage from him. So this Universal Shift is so cool. Like, I love this idea. I don't know how many things they'll be able to get a proper story to make that work, but with Baymax it works really well. But I love this idea. The fact that blue green can now play this on any character to get a 5/5 down on turn 4 is really cool. And when I think about it, the first thing that pops into mind that what characters are trying to get down early is Tipo, right? Because if they play Tipo on 2, then they can ramp to 3 ink, and then on their turn 3 they put down their fourth ink, and now they can shift this in the same turn. And by doing so, they can then sing something like How Far I'll Go, which then puts them at 5 ink, and then on their turn 4, they're going to 6 ink. Yeah, so that sounds right in math, right? And so that's really cool to be able to sing How Far I'll Go. Now outside of that, nothing comes to mind, but it still is a 5-5-2. It can on turn 4, on turn 3, if you did play Tipo, it's questing for 2. It's challenging something that they're not going to, or they're gonna have to respect now, and that is a really big deal because they might just quest with all their stuff, thinking it's safe to do so, and then you slam down a Baymax giant robot to challenge into it, and then the next turn you play your other Baymax that lets you heal your character, and you gain lore for doing so. So there's that as well, and I really like the idea of Universal Shift 4. It's on a big body. It is unfortunate that it's uninkable, but that's so is life, you know. It is a hero and a robot. I'm gonna give our Baymax a 4. I'm gonna give him a 4. I do think he's going to see play in stuff. Baja Blast will find a way to play him because of what he can do for the deck. Moving on, we have Ratigan. I think this is our first legendary we're showing off, possibly. But he is a 4-cost inkable 3/3/1, a marvelous performance. Whenever you play an action while this character is exerted, gain 1 lore. Oh, this feels so bad because this would have been really cool before the Half Shark. But when you have something like Maui Half Shark, I don't know why you would ever play this card. Maui Half Shark is inkable, it is evasive, it gains lore whenever you play an action. It doesn't even have to be exerted either. And this is just a 3/3/1 that will probably never see play, unfortunately. Unless there's some kind of villain thing. There is the Ratigan shift targets, and I don't know those cards really well off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm going to give Ratigan a 1. I don't, whenever an action, whenever you play an action while this character is exerted, gain 1 lore. I don't see it. Unfortunately, I'm giving this legendary a 1. It feels bad. It's unfortunate, but I think that's what I have to do. So I'm sorry, Mr. Ratigan. So moving on, we have another legendary, and we have Aurora Waking Beauty. She is a 1/4/2, a 3-cost inkable. She is a Singer 5, so we love to see that on a 3-cost. Sweet Dreams. Whenever you remove 1 or more damage from a character, ready this character. She can't quest or challenge for the rest of this turn. So this is one card that I saw already. I was pinged. She's a hero and a princess. But this card I was pinged a lot today. I have opinions about Aurora, and a lot of people are probably really going to hate me for this, but I think Aurora is just really, really, really bad. She has a cool effect, right? She's a Singer 5, so there's a world, and one thing to note is whenever you remove 1 or more damage from a character, it doesn't have to be her. So if you played Smee on 2 and then exerted and the Smee took damage, and then he now has a damage counter on him, and then let's say he quests again on your turn 3 when you played Aurora, now on turn 4 you can sing a song with Aurora, and then hopefully draw into, maybe you play a whole new world and you draw into a Rapunzel, and then you can use Rapunzel to heal your Smee and ready the Aurora, and then the Aurora can sing another song, and then if you happen to be able to heal a character again, she can sing another song, and it's all very lovely and cute. And whenever I describe a card's mechanic as cute, it's not a good thing. It's like if you're down in the South and they say "bless your heart." That's not a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. If they've ever said that to you, it wasn't good. But with Aurora, I I'm I'm going to give her a two, and yes, that is very biased because she should be a one. But there is a world where maybe you can do something, but she does not. She does not replace Gaston. If you want a three cost singer that isn't Ariel, it is still Gaston is the card to play. Hero and Princess is something. It works with Queen Sensor Core, which is really good. Hero works with other things as well, but Gaston is still just a better singer 5. And that's just it. Gaston guarantees that you get to sing a whole new world. Aurora does not. Aurora still gets messed up by many different cards. I believe it's either I always get them confused. Cloud Kicker can bounce Aurora, but he cannot bounce Gaston. Brawl cannot hit Gaston, but it can hit Aurora. Uh, Baby Sizu cannot hit Gaston, but it can hit Aurora. Aurora's effect is cute, and that's not a good thing. Bless her heart, as they would say. So I'm going to give her a very biased 2, and she should be. No, I'm going to be honest. I'm not even going to let bias control. I think Aurora's a 1. It has great artwork, but unfortunately, it's just not. The ability's not good enough. Really good players do not let damage just be sitting there. They work really hard to not give you Rapunzel value when you're playing yellow. So it's just going to make this extremely difficult to get off. And if you don't believe me, ask ask your more prominent Steel Song players or your yellow players. Ask anyone that's been to Continentals or DLCs how many times they were able to get off Rapunzel effect without them having to be the ones to enable it by hitting their own character with a song. Aurora is going to be a 1 for me. I'm sorry. You can let me know how wrong I am in the comments, but I don't see it. But I would love to be proven wrong, and for that reason, I will still buy a foil playset on day of release. But prove me wrong. For now, she's a 1. Moving on, we have Hiro Hamada. He is a 3-cost inkable 3/3/1. When you play a Floodborn character on this card, draw a card. So this looks really weird. I don't know if there's any Hiro Hamada shift cards, but there is a Baymax. So you can play Baymax on this, and now you get to draw a card, and you get a 5/5 now, the quest for 2. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty awesome. So I really liked that Baymax. Hiro Hamada drawing a card, which is neat. It's a 3/3/1 though, right? And I gave a 3/3/1 support a 2 earlier, and I'm gonna give Hiro Hamada the same 2. Again, off the top of my head, I can't think of any hero shift targets, and he is a hero and inventor, so there is that. So there's that synergy with both of those keywords. But for now, Hiro Hamada is a 2. Moving on, we have Pepper, and we have a puppy, and I am so excited for more Dalmatian support. It probably means we won't get broom support this set, but puppy support is pretty awesome. So Pepper is a 2/2/1 3-cost inkable. Whenever one of your puppy characters is banished, you may put that card into your inkwell face down and exerted. So this is really cool. One of the things that you want to do with puppy decks is get all of your puppies going. But if you have to be sitting there and you have to be inking and doing all this stuff, then it's really hard to get the puppies going. But now if you have Pepper down, then it makes it a little bit easier because you play all these puppies. They're really easy to banish. But now if they banish them, they get to still be helpful to your other puppies. So it is unfortunate that her stats are so bad, but for a 3-drop, but she's ramping a lot. And the next couple cards are puppy puppy related cards, and I'm going to be biased because I'm allowed to be. So I'm going to give Pepper a 3 for helping out the Dalmatian family. Moving on, we have Canine Crunchies. This is an item. This is a 1-drop item. You can be a champion too. Your puppy characters get +1 defense. So another item that is in support of the puppy name, the 101 Dalmatians, and really happy to see more support. I'm gonna give it a 3. When I think of puppies, I I think they're 1-2s. I had them all sitting here, and I think I put. Yep, they're on the back table with all my cards. Unfortunate. I think they're 1-2s. Maybe they're 2-2s. I don't know. 1-3s. If they're 1-3s, going to 1-4 is actually a really big deal. But either way, this is an item card that sits there and just gives passive effects to all your puppies, and that's really cool. If it was attack, it would be phenomenal. Maybe it'd be broken, but this is a really cool item for your puppy decks. I have never seen a puppy deck in a competitive environment, but maybe it's getting the support it needs to be there. I'm going to give this a 3. I can't give it a 4 because even if it even though it's a cool card and that effect is pretty neat, it still is just giving attack. It's not giving lore. It's just a neat card. So I'm going to give it a 3 for the puppy synergy. Moving on, we have Archimedes Extraordinary Owl. He is a 2/2/1, 2-cost inkable. Learn more. Whenever this character is chosen by an opponent's action or ability, you may draw 1 card. So this is kind of cool. There is the Archimedes, the shift target that has the challenger and the good challenger as well, I believe. I think it's a shift 3, but so you can play this on 2, and if your opponent decides to hit it with, like, let's say, let the storm rage on, then you get to draw a card. So that's pretty neat. I don't think Archimedes is used in anything. We saw it used in Jafar Wheel for a little while, but that was kind of short-lived. Jafar Wheels, just not very popular deck to begin with. But being to attack, it was that shift Archimedes was just easily dealt with by Brawl. This effect is neat, but again, purple. I mean, maybe purple red could use it, but it's still not great. I think I would rather play the Raja that I was talking about yesterday. It's a 3/3/1 because then as a 2-drop, it just trades for 2. So, or it just trades with an opponent very well, whereas a 2/2 does not trade very well. I'm going to give Archimedes a 2. Its effect is neat. I like that idea. It reminds me, it's Diablo kind of. So that's really cool. But yeah, unfortunately, Archimedes is going to be a 2 for me. Moving on, we have Akela. 3/2/1 vanilla. Unfortunate. I'm not a big fan of vanilla cards, when there's so many other things that you could have in your deck. A 3/2/1. I'm trying to rack my brain on why you'd want to play this. You have Calhoun's on 2. You have Smee on 2. Again, this is one of the cards that DeCandio did reveal today, and he mentioned Ally was going to come in handy. But right now, I have to give it a 1. I just don't see it. If we see something with Ally later on, then I'll be happy to be proven wrong. But right now, when you have the 2 best 2-drops in the entire game in Steel that have really good effects, that being Smee and being a pirate, and losing or taking that 1 damage is extremely good because it's Rapunzel value. And when you have Calhoun that has resist +1 and gains you 2 lore, how can this card ever be utilized? And if it is, it will be because of the ally. But for now, I have to give him a 1. Unfortunate. Moving on, we have the Matchmaker. She's a 4/3/1, 4-cost inkable. You are a disgrace. Whenever this character challenges another character, each opponent loses 1 lore. So, man, I do think we missed an opportunity here. I'm just saying, because when she says you are a disgrace, she says it with all of the artwork on her face, I believe. I could be wrong. Let me know, because but I'm pretty sure I'm not. I'm pretty sure she's gone like this at this point, and then all the tea spills on her, and she runs out of the hut. Uh, Moving on. As far as the card, whenever this character challenges another character, each opponent loses 1 lore. She is a 4/3. She does challenge into stuff. That being said, she's a 4-cost, and that she's only a 3, and trades into Daisy Duck and lives. That's pretty cool. Trades into Piglet and lives. But by the time she can challenge them, Daisy Duck has gained, if they were on the play, gained 8 lore. Piglet's gained 3, 6, 9 lore. I'm going to have to give Matchmaker a 2. I just don't see it right now. It's just a little too slow. If it was a 3-drop, maybe. And then having them lose 1 lore, because you're going to play this 4 aggro decks with that 4 attack. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 2 for now. I just don't see it. I don't see where this kind of fits in the meta, or what kind of meta might develop, unfortunately. But so we'll go with it. We'll go with a 2 for now, and we'll see what happens. Moving on, we have Toby. Toby is a 3/1/1. He is a storyborn ally, a 1-cost uninkable. What's really cool about Toby is from the Great Mouse Detective, right? And we have another 1-cost uninkable 3/1/1 with Reckless, known as Felicia. And Felicia is from the Great Mouse Detective and works for Ratigan, or belongs to Ratigan, and Toby works with Basil, or belongs, however you want to look at it. So I just thought it was cool that they had the same stat line. No Reckless on Toby, though, because dogs are better than cats, right? And he just, not as reckless. But, I really like that idea. So with that being said, we saw Felicia see a lot of play at the SSG, the Southside Gaming 10K and 5K, where we saw that in a lot of red decks. So maybe Toby will see play as well, and the fact that he is not reckless and can quest for 1 might make him even a little bit better. So we'll give him a 3. It's a card that red can play that can do something. And then if you play Tipo on 2, Toby and Tipo can now take on a Daisy. So that's pretty strong as well. And so it can just be an annoying 1-cost card that quests for 1. It's kind of like Moana as well, except Moana's inkable. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not against it. We'll give Toby a 3. We're sticking with 3 for now. Moving on, we have Tamatoa, happy as a clam, and he is a 4/5/2. He is a 6-cost inkable, and hold on to your seats. Remember what I said at the very beginning of this video? It's a good day to be a blue steel player. Well, this is why. Coolest collection. When you play this character, return up to 2 item cards from your discard to your hand. And I'm beautiful, baby. Whenever this character quests, you may play an item for free. Oh, goodness. The first effect, you're like, oh, that's pretty good. And then you read the second effect and you're like, oh, crap. Because what this does is you can now, if you're blue steel, at this point you've ramped, you've played Fishbone Quill, you play this on turn 4. That's pretty cool. And then you quest on turn 5 and you play Lucky Dime for free. And meanwhile, on turn 5, you also played your Aerial. So now, on your turn 5, you have a Tamatoa down that quests for 2. You have an Aerial that has Ward that potentially quests for 5. And you have a Lucky Dime down as well. So that means now, on your turn 6, you're now questing for potentially 7, as well as Lucky Dime for 12. And you had previously quested for 2 with Tamatoa, so you're at 14. and B Prep isn't anywhere to be found yet, and life is just rough because now you've played a Pete and B Prep can't be used anyways, and your Ariel next turn is going to quest for 5 and Lucky Dime, and you gain another 10 lore from that. So, meanwhile, if that's not what happens, Tamatoa comes down, let's say later in the game. You don't have this great curve. Comes down later in the game. You're blue steel. You don't play wheel anymore because Tamatoa effectively says you don't need to. Because now, when you play this character, you get to return a Popsicle and a Fortisphere, 2 Popsicles, 2 Fortispheres to your hand, play it, and draw 2 cards. Pretty good. Flaversham's pretty good. So meanwhile, when he quests, you get to play items for free, like a 7-cost uninkable Lucky Dime. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good as well. Tamatoa is pretty busted. Tamatoa might very well be the best legendary, the best card that we see revealed this set. It's just pretty darn good, and it is really good for blue steel. I don't know about. So it could come back and it can make Sisu on Ice really good too, which makes me really sad because now they can play Dime for free as well. And if Sisu on Ice gets really good again, then that means, well, Ice Block comes back. And I've really been enjoying not seeing Ice Blocks because it's made Red Blue so much more worse, in my opinion. So much easier to deal with, in my opinion. But Tamatoa, you're ruining everything. You are an awful, awful person. You might be shiny, but boy, Tamatoa is a 5, without a doubt. It is a 5 plus. It is a 6. It is a 6 out of 5. He is an extremely, extremely good card. Let's not forget he can also be played in Baja Blast. Good golly. Really good card. So congratulations. If I hear one blue steel player complain again this set, I swear, no patience. All right. I don't want to hear it because this is a card. This is really good. I suppose you should be, well, happy as a clam. Moving on. We have Scrooge McDuck, the other legendary for Sapphire. A 4-cost inkable 4/4/1 Storyborn hero. Put it to good use. You may exert 4 items of yours to play this character for free. Pretty good. Fortune Hunter. When you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal an item card and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is interesting, because a lot of people looked at this card and thought this was super broken, and it does do broken things, but it is not a card that I don't think you keep in your opener, because again, if you're blue steel, then if you're playing blue steel, I look at most of these blue cards as blue steel because I don't think this ever sees play in red, blue, maybe, but in blue steel specifically, you play an item on 1, you play Smee or Calhoun on 2, you play or Tipo, you play Fishbone Quill on 3, and then on 4 you have 2 items down. So maybe you have 2 items in hand that you could play, and then you could play Scrooge McDuck for free. So there's that's an idea. And then you get to look for the top 4 cards of your deck, so you could pull that dime if you have Tamatoa for next turn. So there is a world where this could see play, and I think it is good. It's not broken. It's not broken by any stretch of the imagination. I'm gonna give Scrooge McDuck a 4. We're seeing so much item synergy, and I think that he sets up the Tamatoa really well. I'm going to give him a 4 for now. The ability to play a 4/4 for free is sexy, really good. The artwork is really nice. I like it. So we're going to go with a 4 a 4, 4, 4, and we'll give him a 4. Moving on, we have King of Hearts, Picky Ruler, 3/3/2, Emerald, 4 cost, uninkable. A legal condition. Damaged characters cannot challenge your characters. So, again, maybe you play the Robin Hood that does damage to the opponent's characters, and now they can't do anything because they can't challenge you. Um, I'm gonna give this a 2. Unfortunately, it's cool that it quests for, but again, we need to see a good way to ping opponents' characters. Until we do, it's these things that this thing that Emerald is trying to do just doesn't. It's not cutting the cheese yet, and. I don't know. It resist +1 kind of just really shuts all this stuff down. And when you're playing this card, there's a Calhoun's, and that is annoying. So I'm going to give King of Hearts a 2. Moving on, we have Devil's Eye Diamond, and this is a 2-cost inkable. The price of power. You tap this item. If one of your characters was damaged this turn, gain 1 lore. It's kind of like a flute, right? And that's pretty cool. If one of your characters was damaged this turn, maybe you run this in Ruby Steel. It's not something that's ran in Ruby Sapphire because you're not taking damage that often, right? With that being said, maybe you find this in your deck somehow and you do put it in there. If you're running the red blue burn deck, you can gain that extra lore with super goofs and Mauis and half sharks. So that's pretty neat. This has a potential. In the past, though, the only item we've ever seen play that kind of does this sort of thing is Flute. And even then, we don't see it in play anymore because there's so much item hate and item removal that Blue has. And it's just a little slower. I'm going to give Devil's Eye Diamond a 2 as well. I don't see it right now. I think it's just not there yet. Moving on, we have Peg, the Natural Performer. She is a 2/4 quest for 1, a 3-cost inkable, and then Captivated Audience. If you have at least 3 other characters in play, draw a card. So this gets close to that Maribel card where if you have at least 5 characters, you can play this card. This one if you have at least 3 other characters in play, draw a card. That's neat. I've talked about it before. Green Yellow starts to really suffer from card draw. Sure, they have things like Rapunzel, but if you're a hyper aggro deck, you really need that card draw. I'm gonna give. It comes down on turn 3. You need at least 3 other characters. Unless you drop 2 1-drops on 2, then this isn't going to work. So I'm gonna give Peg a 1. Yeah, because if you're playing this on turn 3, you don't get her effect unless you play 2 1-drops on turn 2. And that means you had to have 3 1-drops. And it happens, right? When you run 18 1-drops like Mo's green purple deck, it does happen, but green and yellow just don't have that many good 1-drops. You Lilo, Daisy, Diablo, Pegasus. I don't see it. I can't. I guess Lady and the Tramp, right? You could play Lady on turn 1 and then Tramp and another 1-drop on turn 2. No, I don't see it. Unfortunately, Peg is a 1. Moving on, we have Guzman, Mariano Guzman, maybe Mariano Guzman, handsome suitor. He's he's the one that's trying to marry the Madrigals, right? And in Encanto, but he is a 3-cost 3/4/1. I see you. While you have a character named Dolores Madrigal in play, this character gets +1 lore. This is awesome. Like, this whole thing is just super cool, all right? Because he sees her because she hears him, and yeah. Anyways, while you have this character gets +1, that's cool. He works with the Madrigal family. We see all those Madrigals working together with their effects, so we see more support there. But those decks have never really seen any success, and this is not going to be the thing that changes it either, I don't think. So we're gonna give our boy here, we're gonna give him a 2, unfortunately. Moving on, we have, oh boy, I'm pretty sure it's just the Glass Slipper. I forgot to put the name on here, but I'm pretty sure it's just the Glass Slipper. It is a 2-cost on Inkable. It's an item. I like that. whatever language this is. Item is object. Well, it looks like object. Anyways, the perfect pair. You can only have a maximum of 2 copies of the glass slipper in your deck. Search the kingdom. Banish this item. Tap or exert one of your prince characters. Search your deck for a princess character card and reveal it to all players. Put that card into your hand, then shuffle your deck. The only thing that I like about this card is the fact that it's got good like story to it. You can only have 2 glass slippers because you only have 2 feet. You have to tap or exert one of your prince characters because a prince puts it on Cinderella. But as far as the card goes, it's garbage. It's really, really bad, unfortunately. But I really love the story right here. This is really, really cool. Really cool that you can only have 2 copies of a shoe in your deck. I really like that. But I'm going to give it a 1. Unfortunate. It's one of our rares for Amber, but I have to give it a 1. Moving on, we have Clarabelle. She is a 3/3 quest for 2. She has support and then scoop. Your other characters with support gain 1 attack. So this helps with the Alice legendary that I was talking about earlier, because now if your other characters with support gain 1 attack, and I believe Alice gives all characters support and possibly 1 attack. I don't remember that part. Should have checked. But anyways, that is... Alice actually she's getting to a point where maybe she can actually see play. Maybe you were going to see a world where Alice is not almost impossible to get off. So I'm gonna give Clarabelle here a 3. I think that her effect is kind of neat. It affects all the other characters on board. We're seeing support for support. That feels weird. We're seeing support for support, and there's going to be something there, and I really think there will be. It's an ally again, so I'm going to give her a 3. I think that there's a world where we could see this in play. And moving on, we have Kakamora. He is the band of pirates. He is bragging. While you have another pirate character in play, this character gains Challenger +3. And with that effect, he's a 1/6/1 4-cost inkable. So if you have a 4-cost card like this in play, you probably have another pirate in play at this point. And it's just having a pirate in play, so maybe they banish all your pirates. Well, next turn you can still play another pirate. You're playing this on turn 4. It plays into Ruby Steel, which likes to challenger. It likes the challenger mechanic. It likes to challenge other things. It's another pirate for Ruby Steel, which is, in my opinion, the best pirate deck. It's probably the best Kakamora, in my opinion. There is the shift target one as well, I believe, that is a little bit higher cost, so maybe this sets up that. I'm going to give it a bias 3, and the bias being because I like Red Steel Pirates. And will it actually see play? I don't think so. It's too easy to get banished by a lot of different things with only 1 attack. I just think there's other things on turn 4 you'd rather be setting up and doing. So we'll be more honest. We'll give it a 2. It's just not there, in my opinion. So yeah, we'll stick with 2 for now and move on from there. Next up, we have Panic. At least I know that one. It is a 2/3/2 4-cost inkable, Scary Cry. When you play this character, move up to 2 damage counters from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So Panic is a really, really bad bell. There we go. That's really about it. I don't have much more to say than that. I mean, if you have Smee down, Panic comes down before your Smee gets banished. So there's that. But other than that, 2/3/2, you're not playing this in Purple Steel. I think Panic... I think Panic's a 1. We did see Lady Medusa earlier that puts 2 damage on one of your characters, so you could play Lady Medusa and then play Panic to move that damage to something else. So seeing some combo play come in, but that I believe she was also a 4-drop, so now your 4s are getting pretty heavy while you still have Rabbit and Goat that you want to play. So I'm going to give Panic did I say 1? I think so. And I think that's what I'm going to stick with is a 1 for Panic. So moving on. Well, there we go. MVP card of the day. My MVP card of the day, and I just realized what card I forgot about, so we'll feature it tomorrow. But my MVP card of the day is Baymax. The reason I chose Baymax for this is because of Universal Shift. I just like the idea that you just never know. And I think that is just cool strategy. In that game one, if you never see this, then you still don't know it's there. And now you have to, like, if you're playing against blue-green, you have to essentially respect that a 5-5-2 could come down at literally any minute. And that's disgusting. That is really tough to deal with and accept that it could be a possibility. So that's going to be my MVP card of the day. If you know what card I forgot about to add in this, how, I don't know. Let me know in the comments, but I do know, and I feel kind of silly, but we'll talk about it tomorrow for sure. Now, yeah, it's wild, right? But amazing cards revealed today. I still can't believe it's only day 2. We don't even have half the cards yet, and we're just seeing some really busted things. I chose Baymax as the MVP card of the day. I think the best card of the entire set, though, is going to be that Tamatoa. But yeah, guys, again, I want to shout out Mushi Report for giving us access to all these cards. The link will be in the description for his website. And then also, again, make sure you check out the giveaway. And that's in this video where I do the first set of reveals, and that link will be in the description. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video, and above all else, remember, always stay happy and healthy, and I'll see you around.